To the Ted Jones World Podcast. I'm your host, Ted Jones, alongside
Peter Moran.
Peter, what's up, man? You're sitting on at that 45-degree angle, which is where I love you at.
It's good to be back.
You know, we usually have you on the couch here, but today we have a very special guest, 13-year military veteran, Travis Eskridge. Travis, how are you, bro?
What's going on? Feeling good.
So Travis is, I guess, just to break it down, bro, you're my gym buddy. Is that like what I think that's your title for the show?
Yeah, that's close enough. Yeah.
So what's up, man? Came down here from Washington Heights. How was your day?
Sure did. Actually, a great day. Got up early this morning as usual. Went to the gym. Got off. Went to the grocery store. Chilled for the rest of the day.
Okay,
was lazy.
So what? I mean, lazy. Travis was in the gym at 5 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, you guys are both talking about your bedtimes already. It's
I
just
know,
I'm getting
literally,
ganged up
bro.
on.
Like literally, what time is it? 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm usually in bed by like 9 or 9:30, and then like I'll fall asleep fully by 10 p.m. What about you?
I'm usually passed out by about 8:30. Yeah.
You're such a military guy.
I know.
It's crazy.
Take me to the club to go dance and look around, and I'm at the bar like.
Yeah, literally, dude. So, Travis, how did you end up in New York? I guess we'll start there, being from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, 13 years in the military. I traveled around, lived in Hawaii, Alaska, Panama, Australia. So, of course, moving back to North Carolina after living in a place like Hawaii, I found North Carolina a little boring.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me liven it up a little bit and, moved up to New York City.
Nice, man. And so I guess just the first question, which Peter and I were very curious about, did you enjoy being in the Army? 13 years at a job, or I wouldn't even consider it a job. It's more like a passion, no? Like 13 years doing something that took like that much energy out of your full day in existence, no?
I'll actually say I actually loved it. What other job can you get to where you get paid to travel, live in places like Hawaii, Australia? Just after about 13 years, I got a little bored of it. So, I decided to move on.
Nice, man.
Yeah, where was your favorite station you were located in?
Favorite station, I would say a close tie between Hawaii and Australia.
That's never having been to any of the places you mentioned. That's what I would have said.
Literally. So what did your normal day kind of look like? I guess when you were serving and then when you weren't serving.
So normal day when I wasn't serving, you would get up like 5 a.m. in the morning, make it to first formation around 6:30 for PT. After PT is about an hour. After PT, you would go shower, get dressed, and come back in, and we had like duties to perform. So most of the time, if we were in, it would be like training. My job was 11 Bravo Infantry. So we would be training on like different tactics or cleaning weapons.
Okay, so when you say PT, do you mean physical training or physical therapy? And
physical training.
Okay, so what do you mean by infantry?
Military terms.
No, I know that's why I want to get it. So what do you mean by like, in terms of just breaking down everything? If you can speak in non-military lingo, I guess.
Let me try. So it would consist of.
Yeah, go ahead.
Most of the time, it would consist of like push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, maybe going on like anywhere between 2 to 8 mile run.
Okay, so it seems that like it could be done by most people if they're motivated, correct?
Oh yeah, of course.
Were there any fitness hurdles that people needed to get over? Like I think to be a cop, you need to run like a 9-minute mile. Is there anything in particular besides like the boot camp that you guys obviously go through?
I would say the biggest thing would be the 2 mile run. Just making sure you can run within. I believe it was like 17 minutes.
Okay, that's a pretty good pace.
That's
that's
pretty manageable. Yeah.
Most people can do that.
Yeah.
Word. So surprised. Peter and I actually we're college athletes, and Peter, you played baseball at Wheaton in Illinois. Right. So like you probably a pretty big fitness guy back then. No,
we had to run I hate running. I'm not a runner. I can't breathe out of my nose. It's terrible. But we had it's atrocious. Jeez. I have like the most deviated septum. Anyway, that's my excuse at least. But we had to run like a 20-minute 3 mile was what we had to run the 1 year, which is stupid. There's no point in baseball where you're like you got to run distance as fast as you can. We're running 30-yard sprints. That's a home to first.
Exactly.
But Yeah, I had to run. I ran that in like 1957, I think. It was the 3 fastest miles. Like even in the training, I never hit the time, never got right, whatever. It was like 1957 and a lot of throwing up.
And what was it, like 3 miles?
Yeah, 3 miles. But it was an indoor track, so it was like a ninth of a mile. So it was 27 laps on the same track, same direction.
Right.
It was garbage. I hated it. Yeah, I haven't run 3 miles since then. That was like 6 years ago.
So, Travis, what was one of the more crazy stories that you think you have from maybe your time serving and then not serving? So you spent 8 years serving and then 5 years not serving.
So I spent
So are
8
you
years
reserve?
active duty,
Okay.
and then the other 5 years reserves.
Okay, so like meaning that you could potentially be on duty? Being
So
in the
pretty
reserve?
much what it is active duty would be it's a full-time job, so 24/7, and then reserves would be
Sorry,
like part-time where you go.
smash my glass.
Exactly. I heard that. I play it off. The reserves would be more like 1 weekend out of a month where you just show up and you do drills and everything like that.
And
So
you're on
pretty
salary the whole time though?
easy. Yes.
Okay.
Really? 1 weekend a month? And so it's like
Well, it's
48
still
hours
like,
on base or something?
Yeah, it's like a little bit compared to like active duty, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's significantly. What did you like work another job during that, or do most people not?
So you can reclass and do a completely different MOS, which is what I did. So I went from being an infantry soldier to, what was it, a paralegal assistant.
Okay.
So doing a lot of paperwork.
What was the craziest story from both at times?
I would
If you can pinpoint it.
I would say one of the craziest stories I have would be when we realized we were going to Panama. I mean, everybody was excited.
What year was that?
That's gonna age me right there. I'd say,
No, you
I
joined
wanna
when
say
you were
that was-
18, bro. You're
I think
good.
that was like 2001, 2002.
Damn. And what was going on at Panama at the time?
So nothing really. So what we were gonna do, we were gonna go to Panama to do jungle training. Because we
my
went to
God.
different places,
Sounds
like we
intimidating
went to
as shit.
Australia to cross train with Australian soldiers. So everybody was excited, like real jungle training.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody was pumped and excited up until we got there.
Jungle training.
So we flew in and got off the plane, and we went into this room, and we heard that we was gonna get briefed, which was like a normal day. Get briefed of things that are gonna happen.
Yeah.
So what we didn't realize was it turned into like a 2-hour briefing of all the dangers that that are in the jungle.
Like snakes and
Yeah, like
cobras and shit.
snakes. They was like, be careful of like small frogs. If you
Yeah.
touch them, poisonous skin, bats.
I mean, yeah, don't
How-
lick the toad.
How you
Oh,
gonna
man.
find the princess? You gotta kiss the frog. That's how you.
Jesus. Okay, so they were just breaking down what was going to be going on in the jungle, but
Exactly.
you guys didn't really you guys weren't fully aware that Australia was completely different than like the jungle in
Well, not
Charlotte,
Australia,
North
but Panama.
Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, sorry, excuse
Exactly.
me. Yeah.
Exactly. Until we got there, then I was like, am I the only one? I started looking around. I saw everybody's faces, and I'm like, okay, so I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
But actually, it was pretty cool. But a couple crazy things happened. We went out there, and of course, being infantry, we always like to joke around on our free time. So, one time we was out there, and one of my buddies, finding something to do, pick up rocks. We see some monkeys playing in a tree, and
Yeah.
he decided to pick up a couple rocks and like lunge them at the monkeys, and we're like sitting there like, okay, nothing. What's the worst that could happen?
Right.
So all of a sudden, the monkey started like picking up something like behind them, and we're like, thinking, is that like berries or something? They start like throwing it at us, and one guy hit him in the face, and he's like, "Oh, what is this?" And when he looks at his hands, it's like he was like, "Oh my God, it's monkey shit." So,
I've heard of that. Apes do that
Yeah.
too, I think.
I think so.
I don't know.
Same
What is
fam.
that?
I'm
Like
not
a
sure.
defense mechanism?
I have
That-
no
or
idea.
like a good strategy.
Yeah, a good strategy. Positive effect.
Like this is the worst fire you guys have ever come under.
So you had monkeys throwing shit. I guess what was the scariest moment? I mean, monkeys throwing shit in the jungle sounds
I would say
pretty
one of the
standard.
I mean,
It's a regular
you'd be
story.
surprised because as close as we are sitting right now, I mean, once you're in the jungle and you're deep in what they call the bush, I mean, you couldn't see like from me to you sometimes. I mean, it was like a lot of like, grass, trees, everything.
plants
So,
and shit, right?
every time we saw something moving, everybody would stop and be like, like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? And then, we think it would be like, God knows, like a wild animal, python. I mean, who knew?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did
And go ahead.
any of those
Peter.
rush up on you at any point?
No, actually, we didn't really see anything. I saw something once. We were doing PT. We were running in the morning.
Yeah.
And we came across this little thing of water. And, my thing is I've always been a little too nosy sometimes for my own good.
Yeah.
So, I see like the water like start to bubble. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, we might can catch some like fish or something like that. So I run up to it and some of the guys like follow behind me. And all of a sudden I just see like this little green like snout stick out. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then come to find out it was like a crocodile. So we all just like took off running.
Damn.
But, yeah. So needless to say, anytime we saw anything like move or anything shake, we would always stop it. Like, what is that?
So in terms of like feeling, like being scared for your life, though, I mean, were there any situations like that besides the fact that like maybe a crocodile or alligator might have snuck up on you? Was there anything where other humans put your life in danger? Something like that?
No.
So in 13 years of being in the military, you for the most part came out unscathed.
Exactly. Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So the whole 8 years I was active duty, just training. Never got called. To go anywhere. So.
But what do you think that people come out like as normal as you, or like what's the kind of disconnect, man? Because I've definitely heard of military vets kind of, don't take this the wrong way, but like going off the deep end. You know what I mean?
I think that would be the more likely the military, the vets that actually go to war. Okay. And they actually, they see war. They see, different things. Because I could only imagine, even while I was training with some of the guys, sometimes you'll take a look at some of the guys and say, you would ask yourself, like, could they really, how would they come back, if actually you had a kid or something like that, pointing a loaded weapon at you. And, some of these countries. So, if it had to be your life or theirs, I mean, of course it's going to be their life, but then how would you come back from that, though?
And you think that you were prepared for that, for something like that to potentially happen? Well, I guess you can't really know until it's what happens.
I mean, you can't really know until it happens, but I mean, I like to think I was. Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Nice. Peter, you knew a few people that went to the military, no? Growing up in high school?
Yeah. I mean, a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, but a decent amount of people. That's a move. You came straight out of high school and joined up when you were 18. Yeah. That's most of the people I know on that. And I mean, there was a ROTC program in my college, so people went out that way. But yeah, I got to imagine that is like, that's a fortunate thing, is to be able to avoid ever being put in that situation, or even just having to endure wars. I got to imagine it's a completely different experience for anyone who ended up like that, right?
I can only imagine. Yeah, I've heard some of the stories from some of my buddies who actually went to war. So
sure.
Yeah.
Can you share some of those? Not really.
Not really. Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, being in the Army for 13 years, I would imagine would shape your mind to be extremely disciplined. So, do you think that what you'd be the man who you are today in terms of waking up at whatever time you wake up, bro, like 4:15 in the morning, getting to the gym Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. Do you think that you would have been doing that if you didn't spend 13 years in the military? Is that just like the person who you are, or you think that like that made you that way? Do you think it did? The military.
I think
made
the military
you that
made
way?
me that way, because if I didn't go to the military, I wouldn't be this way at all. I think before I went into the military, I slept in as much as I could. I mean, I slept to the last minute. I don't know how many times I hit the snooze button whenever it went off, even to go to school. And also, as far as working out, I mean, well, I was bigger when I went to the military. I think I was like about 310.
Damn, 310 pounds.
I was a little I was a little.
Wait, dude, you're like David Goggins. You were 310 pounds.
Yeah. So thinking about even running around the block was like.
Were you playing like football or anything like that? Were you playing like football or anything like that?
I used to play basketball, and I used to run, but then I just started packing on weight and got lazy.
Were you overweight at 310? Would you consider yourself to be overweight?
What do you think, Dad?
No, I don't know.
It's fucking Ronnie Coleman.
Well, I mean, pretty much running from here to the door. I was overweight.
So you got to the military, and then did you lose the weight there? Or you got it right before you entered. You lost a ton of weight.
Well, I mean, before you can even go into the military, they got to make sure that you can, pass the test, the AssFap test that they give you. So I
said AssFap.
Yeah, AssFap test.
What's it actually called?
So no, it's called an AssFap.
Yeah. Why, like how much fat you have on your ass?
No. That's what the test is called.
Oh, okay. What does that stand for?
But it consists of like how many, like I said before, like how many push-ups, sit-ups, and
pull-ups, maybe
how fast you can run a 2-mile run. And I think my first 2-mile run was a little over like 25 minutes. So,
so you transformed yourself, man. I never knew that about you. That's great.
Well, I think that was like the beginning. You know, when I had it in my heart that I wanted to go into the military, and nothing pretty much stopped me once I make up my mind. So I started running. Well, let's be honest. I started walking every day, and then walking led to like a fast walk, which led to like running, and then the weight started like falling off. And once I got to the point to where I could pass the 2-mile run, got into basic training, and the weight just fell off.
Are you a fan of David Goggins? You know who David Goggins is, right?
No.
All right.
Me neither, for the record.
You guys don't know who David Goggins is?
No, I've never.
All right. Well, just so I don't butcher this live, David Goggins.
I'm guessing he lost
like
a lot of weight.
No, he's like a military. He's like a military hero, guys. I'm surprised you guys haven't heard of him.
Losing
weight. He lost like 100 pounds in 3 months. David Goggins is an American ultra marathon runner, ultra distance cyclist, triathlete, public speaker, and author. He's a retired United States Navy SEAL and former United States Air Force Tactical Air Control Party member who served in the Iraq War. His self-memoir, Can't Hurt Me, was released in 2018. Just like a super motivational guy. Does talks all the time. He shows up on my TikTok and IG and Facebook. Yeah, that's funny. You haven't heard of him. I suggest anyone who hasn't heard of him or listening, watching, look him up for sure. He's an inspirational fellow like Travis over here to the left, man. So losing 100 pounds, I guess this journey kind of started because you wanted to be in the military, and then everything kind of just fell into place in terms of wanting to stay fit throughout your entire life. So I guess let's get into gym talk, Peter, if you don't mind.
Because I wouldn't know.
Yeah. So Travis, what's your go-to playlist listening to music at the gym, man? I sometimes see you bobbing around in there, but obviously you're very focused. So what's a go-to playlist?
It changes pretty much every week. I like to change my playlist every week, but let's say for example this week, I think Monday I put in. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff thrown in. From like
dude.
DMX to,
Rip.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
To like Limp Bizkit.
Oh my, little Fred Durst, dude. I have
That's great gym music.
I feel like we would love Limp Bizkit. I don't know why you and I haven't bumped it together. Fred Durst. It's been a while since I've heard anything from Fred Durst.
Yeah, I thought I'll look up some old stuff that I used to love.
Yeah. Right. Those 90s hits.
And of course, when you see me like bopping around, it's probably like
you know what I always see you do? I don't mean to like spy on you when you're working out so much, but I always see you bobbing your head like this, fixing your gloves, or counting like this on your hand. You know what I mean? You ever do that? You always do that.
I do. I'm just like,
the
how many more
counting's
reps?
like 3 reps.
Cool.
We got this.
Okay.
And now you told me beforehand that you don't even count anymore.
Yeah. So what's up with that? How did you get to that point? Travis and I briefly, before we hopped on the pod here, started recording and filming. I was talking about how when I do reps in front of my mirror here at the house, I just typically don't count. I just like get into the eye contact with the mirror. But you said you don't count reps at the gym anymore. So how do you get into that? What do you find yourself usually entering at?
I don't know. For me, it's like because what I normally did is I would start from 10 and I would work my way down 10, 8, 6, 4, 2.
In terms of, so you start lighter and then you go heavier as you go.
Exactly.
On. Okay.
But then what I found out, what works with me is a little different. So I no longer like to count. So I like to do each set. I just don't count no more. I just do it until like failure.
That's that Ray Lewis methodology. That's what I saw an interview with him. He's like, reps. No, I wake up, I work out until I can't anymore, and then I go to bed for the rest of the day.
So then how do you kind of decide how many workouts you're going to do that day, though? I think that's kind of the only like hurdle I would have in terms of being like, okay, like how am I going to gauge how many I'm going to get through today? Because I feel like I could do the non-rep, count without counting reps, but I just feel like I might not get through as many exercises as I would potentially want. So how do you do
Well, each
that?
time I come in, I already know, like, I guess military instructor, but I already know I'm going to do 5 exercises.
Yeah.
And 5 different sets of each exercise.
Okay.
So I just push myself, and the biggest thing lately is also like, because what I noticed before was I felt as though I spent way too much time in the gym. So, and I think that was also due to, like a long like rest. So what I do now is I'll either jump rope or I try to do something else instead of like resting.
Right. And also I feel like you're getting that heart rate up more.
Exactly.
It's like the jumping rope.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's excruciating, but that's where it's at.
So what is your favorite workout? If you can answer that off the top of your head, just because I didn't give you that question beforehand.
I would actually say favorite workout is doing weighted push-ups.
Oh yeah, you love that one. I was telling Peter that you do 3 plates.
He said he's the weight stacker. He said he's a spotter.
So Travis and I first met, I guess, probably we started saying what up to each other probably like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
When we just do like the upward nod, like the bro upward nod. Yeah. And I think ever since then we just started saying what up to each other more. The thing is when we go to the gym, they're like a handful of people in there, and like maybe it'll differ. And like that guy that we were talking to today in the locker room, he started being there like a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more.
But it's definitely like a different crowd. Like maybe you'll get somebody in there like at 5 a.m. who you've never seen before. Like they just like woke up early one day or can't sleep. They're like, all right, I'm hitting the fucking gym. And then like, I don't know about you, but like I'll see someone, I'll just be like, where is that person from? Or like if the person's like built or whatever, I'll just be like, where has this guy been going before? Like, you know what I mean? To see at another gym, like up the street or whatever it is.
What? You just
and I'll
trying
always
to keep a
eavesdrop just a
database?
little bit.
No, you won't.
I'll eavesdrop just a little bit like, how did they get so big? And then I like watching like, have I done that before?
Yeah, I know. I feel like at the same time, there are a few people that go to the gym at the same time as us. They'll go in and they'll just do like the same 3 workouts, or like they'll come in and like a guy will do like half sets of like 10 different machines running around. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Just in general, I think like when you see kind of the same people, you're like, all right, this guy's gonna run in here 40 minutes. Just strictly biceps, 40 minutes, biceps and chest, just whatever it is, wearing jeans, whatever the case may be. It's definitely interesting to see like how many different characters there are at the gym, man. And it's refreshing to know that you're so normal. And it's interesting just because like, I don't know, bro. Like I would consider myself normal, but like, who goes to the gym like at the same time as you and I? What do you mean? You saying over there? Like you don't think
I'm not giving either you the normal curve when you go to the gym at 5 a.m.
I don't know, man. It's definitely a weird thing. What do you think motivates you, Travis, to get up as early as you can? Because I mean, like for me, in terms of changing like my whole mindset and like making my life basically formed around not hitting the snooze button. What do you think is the main driving factor for you?
I'll say, first of all, I've been doing this for like 10 years. So it's like every single morning, even on the weekends, on my days off, I'll still wake up at, we'll say like 4 o'clock.
But is that you're setting an alarm on Saturday and Sunday for 4? Or no?
I set my alarm. I think my alarm goes off at like 4:15. But I literally wake up about 10 minutes before it goes off, and then I just lay there and I wait for it to go off. So, and I'm like, okay, now it's time to get up. And
so, what's your secret? To hearing the snooze, to hearing the alarm, and then immediately hopping out of bed, because as you can imagine, people everyone's listening, watching, waking up at 4 and change would be quite difficult. What's your secret?
I'm just excited to see another day.
And
believe it or not, like
I agree.
Anybody who's ever lived with me, they always tell me like, can you keep it down a little bit? Because I get up and I be singing, dancing. I'm just.
Can't even see
I have
the new day.
I have the most energy when I wake up in the mornings.
So big morning person.
Yes. Huge.
Not a night person at all.
I used to be, but as I get older, it's like now I'm like, I'm no fun. I'll pass out like this.
Yeah, do you ever like once in a while, special occasion, buddies getting married, something like that, and you just go out drinking till like 1, 2 in the morning or something? Like, what happens if you do that?
I always keep. Well, first thing I'll do is I'll go buy either Gatorade or some Pedialyte. But I've done it recently. I went out with some friends, and I think we stayed out till about. I would say about 12 o'clock drinking, but I still came in the next morning, and for some reason I had even more energy and I could like lift heavier weights. And I was like, maybe I was still a little bit.
So how often are you drinking, and how does your diet look right now?
Actually, I would be considered a lightweight right now as far as drinking. I don't really drink that much anymore, but I would say when I was in the military, I used to drink heavily.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. You see my plaque, and my plaque, pretty much says it.
What's the
Both of my plaques, I'm not going to say exactly what it says, but it pretty much hinted to, I used to be a heavy drinker.
Okay. All right, man. What?
But you were still had to
Clever,
get up then,
fresh.
like so you were getting deep into it, and then you'd still just be up next morning ready for PT.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think my platoon sergeant, he secretly like hated me though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a couple of times we'd go out, especially when we lived in Hawaii, we'd go out and be drinking all night. And we'd show up the next morning, and then I heard some of my buddies was like, I could smell the alcohol on you. And then we were supposed to do like light exercises. Then he would show up and he'd be like, and he was like, you know what? And he loved to run though. He was like, yeah, today we're gonna do a 4-mile run. And I'd be smiling inside because I was like, you still ain't gonna make me pass out or fall out. Because the biggest thing he want, I think, was me to like fall out or like throw up. He wanted to see me throw up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can do it.
So what kind of stuff? What are you eating right now? And you keep it kind of similar, 365 days a year, or you can't change it up depending on how you're
Not
feeling.
really. I would say
bulk or whatever.
I do have a cheat moments, I'll say. It comes every once in a while. Like, I love food. So every once in a while, you see me order like a large pizza, burger, fries. But I mean, normally I eat pretty much around the same thing every day, like eggs, bison for breakfast with some yogurt. And then maybe for lunch, chicken salad, something like that. And then for dinner, it's whatever I pre-made.
You were telling me that you don't eat rice. Right?
I don't eat as much rice as I used to.
Okay.
Because it actually makes me gain weight a little faster, and I have to like do more like cardio.
Okay.
In order, to keep the fat down.
So have you noticed that every year you've just been like learning more about your body, just being able to, going to the gym the same time almost every single day, waking up at the same time, eating, and then you can kind of adjust?
Well, I'll say
like
I would say you would normally have to change it up because I used to be the type to where I could drink all day and night and eat whatever I wanted to and still have a 6-pack, and that doesn't
Cheers
work
to
anymore.
that, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, you're getting back into the gym, man. Don't front over there.
I've been back in ever since I got that shot. I've been back in for the last 2 weeks, getting into it a little bit. But I'm still like, 30, 40 minutes of lifting at this point before I'm up. I did like, I'm benching maybe 75% of what I was a year ago. It's not terrible for like a year out of the gym, but I definitely am like, good. I'm building back up. It takes a second though. You were talking about doing the weighted push-ups. Like I remember I used to tear those apart, but anything with like any like decent endurance to it, that's where I'm trying. Like pull-ups are so low, push-ups so low in that regard. Like I can still move a similar amount of weight, but like when we get into the endurance, that's where I'm like, oh damn, it has been a while. It has been way too long.
So I think for me as well, wearing a mask and doing any type of like cardio kicks.
It's tough. It's tough with that for sure.
So what's been the longest time you've been out of the gym, and maybe it's been to an injury or something?
Actually, the longest time was when everything happened. And we got put on furlough at work, and the gyms closed down. So, I tried to go outside and work, but I won't lie, I got a little lazy then, and I did start sleeping into like 12, 1, like 11. Because at first I was still waking up at 4, and I would just be wide awake and like, what am I waking up this early for? There's nothing to do. Everything is closed down, so.
Yeah, 4 a.m. wake up during like March, April lockdown sounds miserable, man.
And it'd be like I would be the only one. I'd go outside and jog, and it was just like a ghost town. So
I hear you.
You can't even catch COVID at 4 a.m.
COVID's not awake yet, right?
Yeah.
COVID wakes up at 7.
Still
So,
sleeping.
Travis, so what would you consider, like what branch of the Army would you consider to be maybe the most hardcore? If you can say it would be a potential Marine, a Navy SEAL, I'm not 100% sure of every single department in the Army, Peter. I'm not sure, in the military, but what would you consider to be the most difficult, most challenging?
I would say probably the Navy SEALs or of course, Marines, or I would say Special Forces.
So why Navy SEAL or Special Forces?
Like
what in particular?
Well, I would say as far as Special Forces, I got to see some of my buddies who are already infantry soldiers, go forth and do, the testing and, everything that it takes to become like a special force. And also I got to work a little bit in this school. It's called SEER School. And what that is pretty much survival training. So it used to be back in the day to where they could like break bones and stuff like that. But now, well, I don't know how it is now, but when I was in and, I took part in it and I saw like some guys take part in it, it was actually, snowing outside. And they would actually have you in this like room. And I mean, they would have you in a room as if you had been captured, in another country. And, you would just be in the dark, you'd be, tied up, and they would like bring you out into the snow barefooted and make you stand there hours while they question you. So, I mean, some of the things you got to do as far as training to become, special forces is, it takes a lot of heart.
Yeah.
Where were you when it was snowing that much? Do you remember where you were located at?
I actually can't remember.
I mean, it probably wasn't Hawaii.
No, it definitely wasn't Hawaii.
You got to pretend it's Hawaii. That's how you get through it.
I can't remember. Maybe it was somewhere in North Carolina.
So is it just mind games? Would you consider it being more so mind games? Maybe that's why being a Navy SEAL or something of that nature would be definitely more difficult.
More so mind games, and I know they do additional training on like even more like weapon systems, and it's a lot more intense training.
Yeah, the SEALs have
so
have
they take it a
right?
step farther.
Yeah, that's that.
And then at certain points in times, of course, while we're out in the field training, we'd have downtime, and we'd be sitting there like laughing and having conversation, and we'll look up and we'll see those guys, and you could just tell by their face, they haven't slept for maybe like 24, 48 hours, and they're still like running around, training and everything.
But in the meantime, are they housed in like a separate unit than you, or like you guys are?
They
together?
went with us.
Okay,
yeah.
so they'll take like a handful of soldiers or whatever, and then put them in a separate place, and then
those who are trying out for it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, interesting, man.
What was probably the most like physically taxing thing they put you through,
question,
like the worst day of training?
The worst day, the most memorable, I'd say. Memorably worst,
or just most impressive physical feat.
Sure.
I would actually say I didn't find the physical part of the military too bad. I would say when I started out, maybe the pull-ups, because I couldn't do a pull-up to save my life. I will say this: when we were in airborne school, that was the first time we started doing pull-ups, because they call us legs. You got to get your wings or something like that, and we actually had a female drill sergeant, and you can't really see anybody's body because they have the uniform on. And one guy, he didn't really take her seriously. He was like laughing and joking, and she told him to be quiet, and he said, he made a smart ass comment to her, and she was like, leg. She was like, what do you think, you better than me? She was like, you think you can do more? She was like, choose your poison.
Oh man.
As far as like working out, he just started laughing. He was like, let's do pull-ups. And she was like, of course. She was like, you first. So he gets up there, and, we send him, knock him out, and he does about 24. And I was like, shit, that's a lot of pull-ups.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she gets up there, and she starts knocking him out, and she gets to 20, and she starts shaking. And I look, and I feel so bad. But then all of a sudden, she drops one arm, and I was like, oh gosh, she's about to fall. And then she looks back at him and she winks. And she just like does like,
no,
I think she knocks
way.
out like 4. And then she like puts her other arm up, drops it down, knocks out 4. And when she drops down, we're all like looking like, what the fuck just happened? And one of the guys told us, he was like, she used to train for like Miss Olympia. So she was like, but like I said, you can't really tell like the BDUs on how big some people are. But
yeah.
And I mean, she just made him feel like, shit the rest of the time.
So how many females like on a daily average would you see like walking around or, would be, I guess, in charge? You know what I mean?
I would say in basic training, you really don't see, I didn't see any. Okay. When we moved over, because I also jumped out of planes, when we moved over to airborne school, dude. I saw, you saw more. Still not a lot, but you saw more.
What would you say the percentages, maybe like 10% or less?
I would say about like 8%.
Okay.
8-9%. It wasn't that many at all still.
Would you say that now more so, like more females are joining the Army?
I've heard so, yeah.
Before?
Now,
okay.
Yeah. And they're letting them, into like more MOSs or, jobs than they did before, which I think is good.
Okay, Travis, so thank you so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate it. And I guess before we get out of here, What would you? I would like to leave off with, I guess, some inspirational stuff from you. What would you say to someone who's trying to lose as much weight, dude, as you did? I had no idea that you were over 300 pounds, and now look at you, man. What are you, 210 now? Jacked out your mind, 195.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the plan right now for you going forward to these next 3 months in terms of your fitness goals? And I guess one suggestion that you'd leave to someone who's trying to lose over 100 pounds. What would you think those two things?
I would say my fitness goal is actually I'm trying to get back to about 200. I want to break that plateau, like 200 pounds at least, and then I think the easiest part is getting there, but like maintaining is for me is like, you know, maintaining that weight once you get it on. And I would say as far as if you want to lose weight,
lose weight. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That was such an inspirational quote that he was just about to say. All right, so in terms of like losing weight, bro, and getting fit, so like I guess one and the same.
Well, yeah, one and the same. And I would just say anything you put your mind to, you can accomplish.
That's what's up.
It's a lot easier.
All it takes is, hard work and, you can do it.
All right. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Peter, you got something?
Aside from the guy who did it.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, watching, listening. Episode 127 here. I believe Peter, Travis, Eskridge. Travis, thank you so much, man, for coming down for Washington Heights.
Thank you for having me.
And Travis, I will see you tomorrow morning in the gym.
Early in the
5
morning.
a.m. I guess, dude, wait 1 second before we get out of here. How are my workouts looking, man? Am I doing anything weird? Am I just pretty standard doing compound lifts? What do you think?
I think you're pretty good.
All right.
I mean, I see you dancing a couple of times over there in the corner. I'm like, yeah, what is that move again?
No, but I'm listening to the same stuff as you are, man. Arf. R.I.P. DMX. Peter Moran, thanks so much for being at a 45-degree angle. You're a great guy. And we will see you guys next time. Hey, goodbye. Thanks for tuning into the Ted Jones World Podcast with
Peter Moran.
Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe.
We've got new episodes dropping every Monday, Thursday, Saturday at 12 a.m.
Follow us on TikTok, Ted Jones World Podcast. Hell yeah.